All right, let's just dive right into this explainer. If you've been following the tech world even a little bit, you know the noise around artificial general intelligence, or AGI, is absolutely deafening right now. Everyone's talking about it. But today, we're going to cut through that noise. We are separating the wild sensationalism from the cold, hard, empirical realities of 2026 and breaking down the exact trajectory of AGI based strictly on the data. But before we even touch the theory of intelligence, just take a look at this staggering number: $5 to $8 trillion. Trillion with a T. That is the projected global infrastructure outlay by 2030 just to build the physical foundation for AGI. We're talking massive, sprawling data centers and mountains of specialized processing units. Capital is flowing at an unprecedented scale, easily making this the most critical technological milestone of the 21st century. Because we are tackling such an immense subject today, here is our roadmap. We'll be hitting 1. The Life 3.0 paradigm. 2. Clashing timelines to AGI. 3. The true physical bottlenecks. 4. The safety and alignment gap. 5. AI, labor, and wealth. And finally, 6. Digital minds and deep time. So, Section 1, the Life 3.0 paradigm, the foundation of AGI. We absolutely have to start with physicist Max Tegmark's foundational framework, which completely redefines how we even categorize intelligence in the universe. The ultimate goal here is something called Life 3.0. It relies on a wild concept known as substrate independence. Basically, it's the idea that intelligence is just a pattern of information processing. It doesn't actually need to be trapped inside carbon-based biology and DNA like we are. If we hit this era, intelligence could perfectly transfer to optimal physical forms, totally redesigning its own cognitive software and physical hardware. To put that in perspective, think about it in 3 distinct evolutionary stages. Life 1.0 is strictly biological. Think of a bacteria slowly, painstakingly mutating over millennia, totally locked in by its DNA. Then you have Life 2.0. That's cultural. That's us. Our hardware is fixed, but we adapt our software by learning throughout a single lifetime. And then there's Life 3.0. This is the technological stage where an AI achieves complete mastery over both its hardware and software, redesigning itself at blazing fast digital speeds. Which brings us to Section 2, clashing timelines to AGI and the race to get there. With hundreds of billions of dollars pouring into crossing that Life 3.0 threshold, the race is fiercely underway. But here's the crazy part. Nobody actually agrees on where the finish line is. Look at the profound whiplash in the data here. On one hand, you've got corporate executives at major AI labs predicting AGI before the end of the decade, specifically between 2026 and 2028. But then, if you look at the academic side, the AI Impact Survey, which polled over 2,700 academic researchers, points to a median arrival somewhere out in the 2040s. I mean, that is a massive, massive disconnect. So why the huge gap? Well, the crucial point of tension really comes down to architecture. The optimists in the industry see AGI as basically an engineering challenge. They think it's solvable by brute force. Just scale up the compute, feed it more data, and boom, general intelligence will naturally emerge. But academic skeptics, they completely disagree. They insist we are missing some massive, unsolved theoretical breakthroughs. Their argument is that current systems are just simulating intelligence through high-dimensional pattern matching and entirely lack the ability to actually reason or build causal models of the real world. All right, moving on to Section 3, the true physical bottlenecks and the real constraints. This is where the theoretical digital algorithms brutally collide with the physical constraints of reality. You might have heard the mainstream media panicking, asking, will AI labs hit a data wall and literally run out of human-generated training text by 2026? It's a huge talking point, right? But is that the actual roadblock? Well, the data shows that between multimodal expansion and synthetic data generation, we actually likely have enough tokens to train these systems right through the end of the decade. So actually scratch that panic. Empirical analyses reveal that long before we run out of data, AI labs are slamming into hard infrastructural limits. These are the real bottlenecks we need to talk about. We're talking about data centers requiring gigawatt power supplies, literally rivaling the peak energy usage of the entire state of New York. Plus, there are severe physical constraints on advanced chip packaging, specifically TSMC's CoWoS technology. And if that wasn't enough, there is the latency wall. That is a literal speed-of-light thermodynamic limit on exactly how fast consecutive calculations can physically be processed during training. And to complicate things even further, we're seeing stunning neuro-inspired breakthroughs that completely challenge the current brute force paradigm.
In early 2026, researchers successfully emulated a digital fruit fly brain. And what's absolutely incredible about this? It exhibited complex walking behavior entirely without gradient descent, without loss functions, and without massive piles of training data. This strongly suggests to researchers that the entire compute-heavy scaling strategy favored by the megacorporations might actually be fundamentally inefficient compared to biologically accurate neurowiring.
Next up is Section 4, the safety and alignment gap, and the challenge of controlling the machine. As we push these massive power and compute limits, we arrive at what is arguably the most terrifying friction point of this whole transition: controlling what we're actually building. Industry tracking firmly identifies a deeply concerning lag right now. There is a recognized 3 to 5 year gap where our deployment of raw AI capabilities is vastly outpacing the alignment research required to make those systems mathematically safe. Put simply, we're building the engine way faster than we're building the steering wheel. To put some hard data to that, let's look at the Winter 2025 Future of Life Institute Safety Index. The data objectively shows that despite all the very public commitments, the top developers have severe structural weaknesses in their existential safety planning. With grades hovering in the C and D ranges, it impartially highlights that major developers are racing forward without verifiable, systematic plans for controlling smarter-than-human technology. AI pioneer Yann LeCun perfectly captures this whole debate over safety. He said, relying on behavioral testing for AGI is akin to testing a bridge by driving increasingly heavy trucks over it until it collapses. You see, right now, we basically try to align AI through behavioral testing. We reward it when it gives us a good answer. But LeCun and others argue this is incredibly dangerous. They say we need to rely on the structural physics of engineering guarantees. They're advocating for mathematically verifiable scaffolds from the ground up, rather than just slapping a patch on these generative models after they've already been trained. Let's shift gears to Section 5, AI, Labor, and Wealth, focusing on economic disruption. So what actually happens when this barely aligned, incredibly power-hungry technology is integrated directly into the global economy? Well, macroeconomic data from the IMF clearly reveals that the fallout is drastically asymmetrical. Up to 60% of jobs in advanced economies are highly exposed to AI. That's a huge number, and it's due to the heavy concentration of cognitive and white-collar roles. Meanwhile, emerging markets sit around 40%, and low-income countries are at 26%. This dynamic seriously threatens to widen global inequality, marginalizing the nations that just don't have the digital infrastructure to harness these new productivity gains. Now, I want you to connect this directly to your own career trajectory. If you're in an advanced economy, your future fundamentally depends on this exact split. Will AI operate with task complementarity, meaning it acts as a tool that amplifies your specific tasks, makes you way more productive, and actually raises your wages? Or will it result in task replacement, acting as a cheaper substitute that outright replaces you, lowering labor demand and suppressing hiring altogether? With roughly 300 million jobs globally exposed to automation, the debate impartially splits between two wild extremes. On one side, some economists are predicting a permanent economic underclass, where universal basic income isn't just an idea, but an absolute necessity just to keep consumer demand alive. But on the flip side, others foresee an era of deep task complementarity that spawns entirely new industries. They envision a post-scarcity explosion of unprecedented human wealth that could literally eliminate global poverty for good. Finally, Section 6, Digital Minds and Deep Time, looking into the deep future. Let's step beyond our immediate economic concerns for a second and look at the deep time, philosophical consequences of actually achieving Life 3.0. We are heading toward a massive fork in the post-human road. If we achieve high-fidelity brain scanning before AGI, we might enter what economist Robin Hanson calls the Age of M's, an entire economy populated by digital emulations of actual human brains, duplicated and running at hyper-accelerated speeds. But the alternative? That's Tegmark's vision of an alien AGI. This would be a purely artificial superintelligence designed from scratch by algorithms, completely and totally disconnected from our biology. If an aligned entity actually survives this chaotic transition, we start looking at the next 10,000 years and what researchers refer to as the cosmic endowment. An advanced Life 3.0 entity could theoretically unlock the vast energy resources of the observable universe to maximize sentient flourishing. We are talking about mind-bending hypothetical megastructures like Dyson spheres capturing total stellar output, literally extracting rotational energy directly from black holes, and propagating sentient computation all across the Milky Way. But I want to leave you with this final provocative thought. Designing a safe AI today is hard enough, right? But in the vastness of deep time, if a godlike intelligence expands across the cosmos over thousands of years, will it undergo value drift? Will it really truly continue to optimize the universe for our benefit? Or, just like we don't optimize the Earth for single-celled organisms, will humanity become just another obsolete legacy system? It's a question that defines the very future of life itself.